Welcome to our course on P&IDs and engineering drawings. This course is really for anybody in the process industry who just wants a better understanding of how to read and interpret the various engineering drawings that will be part of the package. So my name is David Clark, and I'm going to be the instructor as we work through this course. I've been in the process industry for about 40 years. By education, I'm an electrical engineer. But most of my career, I've worked in the area of automation, instrumentation, controls, and telecommunications. I actually started out my career in the power industry, in thermal power plants, and got involved with the initial design, startup, and commissioning of power plants. After a couple of years of that, which was really good experience, I moved into the oil and gas field and lived in northern Alberta, working for a large oil sands facility. And again, a lot of time spent on site, a lot of time learning the engineering business. After that, I moved with my family overseas to the Middle East and worked on some mega projects around refining and gas plants in primarily a project consulting role. I returned to Canada, worked for a large EPC company, continuing to do projects in oil sands, in pipelines, gas plants, storage facilities. And eventually my career migrated more into engineering management and project management. But throughout my career, what became really important was an understanding of engineering drawings and P&IDs in particular, because this is the bread and butter of all of us who work in those process industries. So OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety Health Administration in the US, defines P&IDs this way. So it says P&IDs are used to describe the relationship between equipment and instrumentation as well as other relevant information. So what does this really mean? It means that my P&ID, which is a piping and instrumentation diagram, shows everything in my process facility. So it becomes a critical document if I want to understand my facility, if I want to make changes, if I'm involved in maintenance or operations. But this course is more than just the P&ID. We're going to talk about other engineering drawings that form part of that package, what other disciplines are doing, so that you get a full view of the entire process. So if you work in the process industry, and whether you're involved in engineering design or operations or maintenance or planning or safety, the more you can be literate and fluent with the drawings that are presented to you, the better you can do your job. And the other thing about this course is it really transcends industry. So again, whether you're oil and gas, whether you're power like I was, whether you're in pulp and paper, mining, mineral processing, even pharmaceuticals, P&IDs and engineering drawings are going to be very much the same, and you're going to get a lot out of this course. So with that introduction, let's delve a little bit deeper and look at a couple of slides. The course objectives, we want you to be able to understand the purpose and content of common engineering drawings. So we want to interpret information on P&IDs, we look at valves, equipment, the control and safety systems, and how to keep those drawings current and accurate throughout the life cycle of the facility. And we look at process safety management and how important those drawings are to your process safety management plan. So some of the benefits, so if you take this course, accurate drawings, the ability to read and understand these drawings are a requirement for emergency situation analysis, assessment of safety, environment, regulatory. In fact, if you've been in any kind of a meeting, whether it be HAZOPs or design reviews or safety investigations, you know the importance of being able to look and understand those drawings. Because if you can't, then you feel handicapped and you're not able to fully participate, right? It does encourage improvement in quality and consistency. Everybody on your team has the same understanding, and it forms a foundation for additional learning. So if you go beyond this course to additional courses, this is your foundation that you're going to need. And it really helps us all speak that same language. So here are the modules. There are 9 modules in this course. So module 1 is just a basic introduction to engineering drawing. So there's essentially no prerequisites for this course. We don't assume that you have any prior experience, although it's always helpful that if you do. But we're going to cover the basics about engineering drawings and start at the beginning. Now, if you do have some experience, maybe you'll find some of this review, and you'll probably find that it helps to fill in some of the gaps as well. Okay. Module 2, we look at preliminary engineering drawings, things like the block flow diagram, process flow diagram, material balance, things like that. Module 3, now we get into the actual P&IDs. And the beauty of this is we have some real P&IDs from a real project that we're going to look at. So it's not a simulation. These P&IDs are real, and in some cases they're not perfect. And that's going to be your reality when you look at your facility P&IDs as well. Module 4, we'll dig deeper and look at different types of valves, whether it be gate valves or ball valves or globe valves, and understand what the purpose of each are and how they're depicted differently on the P&ID. Module 5, we'll look at some basic equipment. So you probably have pumps and compressors and heat exchangers and storage vessels and things like that. And so we're going to explore those, understand that equipment a little bit better, how it's depicted on the P&IDs, and the basic functionality of that equipment. Module 6, this is where we get into the good stuff, because this is my background, instrumentation, control, and safety systems. How do we read the instrumentation on the P&IDs? How do we understand different types of control systems? How to understand how a control loop works? What are some of the drawings that the instrumentation people look at? Things like cause and effect diagrams and loop drawings and things like that. Module 7, we'll look at a variety of other detail engineering drawings from other disciplines. So we look at plot plans, and we look at piping drawings, and we'll look at electrical hazardous area drawings, single line drawings, termination drawings, and that pulls together and rounds out your whole understanding of what an engineering package is. Okay? Module 8, we've finished our design, we're into construction and operations. What does that mean? We spend a little bit of time looking at as-built drawings. How do we do as-built? How do we do red line markups? And we'll talk about management of change. And then, of course, Module 9, we've been successful. We're going to have a brief wrap-up and summary of the things that you've learned. So you might be wondering at this point, is this course for me? Okay, so who do we think should attend? So first of all, new grads, engineering training, you're beginning your career. What a great way to lay the foundation so that you can get started with that solid foundation, okay? Process engineers, so you may be already familiar with P&IDs, but less familiar with what the other disciplines are doing, and maybe there's some gaps in there, you're not sure about some of the instrumentation. If you're like me, and I learned most of this on the job training, right, as I work through projects, but what that means is there's gaps in your understanding, things that you didn't encounter before, and now we can kind of fill in some of those holes. Same thing for instrumentation control engineers. You know your stuff. Do you understand the electrical? Do you understand the process side? Do you understand the difference between a PFD and a P&ID? And for other people, maybe you're in drafting, you want to understand better what it is that you're drawing. Maybe you're in maintenance or operations, or you're a safety specialist and you're working through safety investigations and understanding the safety features of your facility. And project managers, of course, need to understand all the disciplines and everything that goes into your project. Planners, cost estimators, really to sum it up, anybody who just wants to learn. So I'm looking forward to teaching this course with you and hope you come back.